Women in serious relationships / married etc. Everyone says communication is key, but what exactly does that mean to you, and how do you do it? The ability to take turns talking about everything. Further, being able to indicate my emotions vs my logical mind. Then husband takes his turn to do the same. After we both have our respected and listened time, we discuss the issue with honesty and trying to work together to find answers and the first attempt at a solution. Further, feeling safe, not judged, with him to be able to express unpopular opinions about X also opens him up to feeling safe in sharing deep and heretofore unexpressed ideas. You really gotta spell it out for M. Don't assume your partner knows what you mean, want, think all the time, and don't assume you know all that about them. Forget all the games, niceties and hoping they get the hint. Being honest with your partner and trusting that they won't judge you for it. If myself or my partner does something that upsets us in any way, no matter how small it might seem, we bring it up and express our hurt or saddened from it, even if it was a comment made in a joking manner. We also don't stray away from any important conversations, even if it leads to hard and sometimes painful conversations. It's definitely something that takes practice, and I don't think being emotionally vulnerable comes natural to just about anyone. But if you and your partner have deep trust in each other and your shared love, it becomes second nature after a while and is absolutely necessary. One of the rules that my husband and I have set if we are having an argument is that if either party still feels like there's unfinished business, the other party needs to stick around and keep talking it out. That way, no one leaves an argument with bottled up resentment, and no one gets to feel like they won without completely hearing the other person's side. Edit. Grammar. Edit 2. I've seen comments from several people who have had less than desirable experiences with partners who wanted to keep talking when the commenter just needed space. I'm so sympathetic to that. Often, I wish that my husband and I were more willing to abandon a passionate discussion until things got less heated, or until we got more sleep. We're just naturally huge talkers. We met in a competitive college debate setting, and I don't think either of us has ever changed his or her stripes in regards to how we approach differences of opinion. But I do wholeheartedly agree that sometimes the best solution is for the both of you to just take a breather. Ask questions, and when they answer, validate their feeling instead of giving advice or telling them everything will be okay. Most of the time, we all just want to be listened to and have our emotions validated. In terms of conflict, remember that it's you and your partner versus the problem, not you versus your partner. Remain calm, ask questions, take accountability, make sure each person is heard, and have that difficult talk until you are both okay emotionally and validated. Apologize, hug one another, tell each other you love each other, then set down the anger and move on. No one can have consistent peace and joy while carrying anger or a grudge. Talking about your feelings! Exclamation mark. Exclamation mark. My BF does not know how to do that and bottles everything up. I on the other hand tell him absolutely everything and probably too much honestly lol. But then we get into a slight argument and suddenly has dumping months worth of indiscretions and wrongs I've committed. Things that I do that annoy him or he wishes it stopped doing, etc. It absolutely blows me away every single time and really hurts me because I even ask him periodically if there's anything I do that bugs him or anything he thinks is wrong in our relationship so I know and we can try to fix those things, but he always says there's just nothing wrong until he's mad. It's caused a lot of pain for me and a lot of arguments for both of us. He admits he doesn't know how to share his feelings and doesn't want to upset me, which I understand. But I told him that if he doesn't learn how to communicate now it's going to be very rough for him in the future. And even if we don't stay together, any woman he may ever be with is going to run into the same issues with him. He's now working to fix it and I'm working to fix some issues of my own. And we're doing quite well. But yeah, that's something that is absolutely crucial for a relationship. To be honest, I had communication problems in my relationships until I just didn't. What changed is the person. I just found a partner who I have an extremely straightforward vibe with. He says what he means, means what he says etc. So I'm exactly the same. There is zero bullshit. And because he is so very stable, if I try some bullshit, e.g., my hormones make me say something ridiculous, I usually start laughing halfway through my sentence. Because we just have no capacity for ridiculous statements in our relationship. It doesn't happen often, but to me, if anything my partner does rubs me the wrong way, I will tell him straight away. Usually he will give me his reasons for doing it, and I'll listen to his perspective and try and put myself in his shoes and reply accordingly. He never does it again. Like he won't vocalize that he's not going to do it again. He just won't do it. It goes both ways too. Only I will tell him that what is annoying him about me or said thing that he doesn't like won't happen again, and it doesn't. Communication is definitely key. If something I don't like happens, I can't just hold it in, or I will explode then dissociate completely. I'm just happy he's the calm one, and his mother of his children taught him a lot about communicating properly. He knows my temper can be much shorter than hers. Only difference is she'd get physically violent, and I will just cut him off, which has said will hurt him more because he can deal with physical pain. Emotional pain, not so much. It's never gotten to that point though. Communication is so important. To me, communication is always being open with your partner. If anything on your mind is bothering you, tell them. Say you'd like them to help clean around the house more. They'll never know how you're feeling unless you voice it. Say you'd like your partner to spend more time with you and less on their phone or their gaming console. Tell them. Chances are, your partner can't read minds, so you have to let them know what's going on. Even if you think you are being irrational or crazy or even overthinking the situation, tell them what's on your mind, and if they're the right fit for you, they'll more than likely help ease those thoughts. If you show them you're opening yourself up to them, they'll probably do the same. Make sure your actions are consistent with your words. You've all heard the that a million times, so I don't need to revisit it. But seriously, I've heard myself and so many other women talk about partners who say they love them, but then sit on the couch all evening, greet their beloved with what's for dinner, and never think about doing their share of the chores, when so little of our interpersonal communication is verbal in the first place. It's extremely important to make it believable by contextualizing it with observable actions. I think communication is not just about communicating the difficult or negative things, but it's how you interact with each other regularly, how you talk about the everyday mundane things as well. No one is a mind reader, and the only way we have for getting to know each other, our everyday selves, is through communication. We talk frequently and regularly about anything and everything. When we talk, we are open and honest with each. Treat each other with respect and offer the most generous explanation for every situation, rather than jumping to negative conclusions. We know when to talk with humor, when to be more serious, and we know how to read each other's subtle cues that tell us how the other is feeling. Sometimes we're not perceptive enough, so we just ask straight out. We treat issues jointly, framing it as us against a problem. We don't keep score. We resolve any conflicts as soon as is reasonably possible, staying up to do it if we have to, which is rare anyway. To me, it means adjusting your communication style and interpretation method based on who your partner is. A lot of general relationship communication advice seems to be written as one size fits all, which doesn't necessarily work, especially when the cultural background of you and your partner may differ. For example, I'm American and my partner is British. It took me an incredibly long time to realize when he actually had a problem with something because, to me, the way he discusses issues is so subtle. He, however, struggled with being offended by me quite often because I swear more frequently and am generally louder than he is accustomed to. JP once commented on this, and I find it so spot on. You have to be willing to engage in certain amount of conflict in order to sort out what's disturbing you. You have to lay out your concerns on the table. You can't just say complain about what's wrong. You have to say what the minimum precondition for satisfaction might be. You have to offer that to the person you're negotiating with. Apostrophe. You know, the stuff you don't really talk about because you think it is minor, or that it doesn't really matter? To me it is those things that build up and needs to be discussed. Once you get used to doing that, the bigger stuff is easier to talk about. At least that is what I have learned in my 30+ years of marriage, and I believe we are happier than we have ever been. To me, good communication means being honest with yourself too. For example, I may find myself getting annoyed because I cook dinner every day except takeaway day, and when I get home from work there is no hot drink waiting for me. They sometimes make me a cuppa, regardless of what my initial gut feeling is, e.g. I may consider using the missing cup of coffee to guilt them into something. I try not to air that immediately, but spend some time figuring out why it's bothering me, whether it's important, etc. Only then, once I know why it's an issue for me, do I bring it up. It makes the argument about me, and not about what I think they should be doing. We have also discovered that we tend to start silly arguments at certain times of day, a combination of me being tired and he having been drinking. So we now wait until daylight to try those arguments again. 99% of the time, we see no need for that argument the next day. Incidentally, this goes against the advice my twice married uncle gave everyone, to never go to bed on an unfinished argument. Sometimes the best communication is being able to loudly state I'm tired today, I want a hug/cup of coffee, and the equally important I'm having a good day. Can I do anything for you? Trying to talk about problems before they become problems. Talking about needs, expectations and anticipations frequently enough so that both people in the relationship know what the other is thinking. If something bugs me, or I don't understand some aspect of my partner's behavior, I bring it up in a calm fashion, not accusing, just sharing something that's been on my mind, and asking my partner to do the same thing. I will also communicate things in advance, like if I know I might be irritable because I haven't eaten in a while, I will tell my partner about it and try to fix it before I actually get irritated. Discussions about the future and expectations are also crucial. Obviously they don't have to take place every day or even every week, but just discussing the topic frequently enough so that both people are on the same page. My favorite statement I make to my single friends when they are having trouble with a guy's boys are dumb, they probably aren't texting you back for some grand game they are playing. They just forgot to text you or aren't interested. You have to spell it out and be forward. If you want to hang up, don't wait for them to say it. Don't subtly drop hints. Don't play games they aren't clever enough to figure it out. Tell them what you want. For me it's constantly reminding myself that no matter how long we've been together and I might think he knows me, he can't read my mind. So sometimes I'll be angry thinking stuff and I'll have to check if he actually knows the stuff. Also acknowledge that you don't want to say things at that moment, but that you will say it afterwards. Sometimes I really don't want to talk, so I'll say I have things to say, but I don't want to say right now because I'm angry/upset/tired of this topic. But make a vow to come back to it when you're more settled. Finally, the golden rule for husband and I. If there are two ways of understanding one thing, and one of them purposefully hurts you, I did not mean it that way, because I love. I will not hurt you on purpose. I might say things that hurt, because sometimes things hurt, but I never mean them as an attack to you. For me, it's knowing exactly what patterns we're in, and seeing exactly what my husband might do in certain situations. Because we've had a chat about it a few times, or I'm aware of his habits. We are currently in a takeaway once a week pattern because COVID. 2 weeks ago, I had a stressful time at work, so I chose. Last week it was his turn and I knew, before I mentioned this week's dinner, that he would want Colonel's chicken. But that he would be hesitant about it, because I really don't like eating it at the moment. I leave the room when he's streaming/gaming, because he can be loud and sounds obnoxious to me. I straight up tell him that he is being annoying, and he doesn't take offense or sulk about it. He apologizes and changes his behavior. Compared to previous relationships, I knew I had found a good fit when I realized I could phone him anytime I wanted. We were friends for 5 years before being together, and he would answer without begrudging me. A text from him wasn't met with "oh leave me alone." Please click subscribe if you enjoyed this video.